All right, Virgo, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for January 18th through the 24th. My name is Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology, very different from mainstream astrology, which if you're new to the channel, you'll want to check the description down below because the signs are different. All right, Virgo, so this week we've got a lot going on astrologically. It all starts here on Monday with Mars trining up to Neptune. And so Monday things really kick off here, but here it's about a lowering of energy, usually with this aspect and this easygoingness about whatever it is we're motivated towards. So for you, I think you're just more motivated to pursue your goals or the things that are important to you in life, which has been Mars in that first house for the past couple months. And it's a great time to assert yourself to pursue those things. But here it's just easy going. And in fact, I think you can find the more passive approach, maybe even taking the back seat approach a little bit, could be quite supportive here this week with that. But it is an excellent time to continuously move forward with that, as well as with your communications and whatever is really meaningful to you in general, since Mars rules your third and your eighth. Now also here on Monday, Venus does square up to that Jupiter North Node conjunction. So there is this enjoyment to be had about these new shifts that are on the horizon for you very slowly as we go into February around your spirituality. You've had the North Node in your first house, so now things are moving from the goals and yourself. Although Mars is still there and there's a lot of that intention, your life path is going to start pulling you towards that spiritual alone time, to having that spiritual time out, that faith, that trust, and really seeing that there is this divine process that is larger than us. So however that is unfolding for you, here it's an excellent early part of the week to see that, to enjoy anything spiritual, meditative, and behind the scenes with this square from Venus. And this is a Venus too that's been in your third house, so I think you can also enjoy again those communications, maybe the social aspects, which have been quite serious perhaps with Saturn, but Venus will still be there this early part of the week. Now on Tuesday, Mercury does sextile up to Chiron, so Mercury is retrograde. Mercury is getting a lot of aspects this week, and since it's your ruler, it's important for you guys. Here, you guys are reflective. It's a retrograde of your ruler, so it's important that you're just malleable. You're trying new things. You're treating everything as an experimental process, and in that way, you do become that much more adaptive and learn. There's a lot transforming here. On Tuesday, it's quite easy in that regards, and you probably feel quite rejuvenated in some sense, maybe from something in the work environment or the daily sphere. But as we go through the rest of the week here on Wednesday, Mercury will be squaring up to Uranus. So you could be quite stimulated here midweek. So it's important, again, to just keep everything nice and grounded. It might be wanting to break free and revolutionize something with your one-to-one connections or your relationships, which has been Uranus in your seventh. But whatever it is, it's really about adaptivity and, again, learning and just being willing to rehash and redo things there, especially with your perspective. Because the thing about Pluto and especially a Mercury retrograde, it's all about re-examining the way we normally do things. So here, our perspective on, in this sense, your relationships. Now, this is all happening in your fourth house, which is about home, family, past, roots, and health. So it's a good time to, rehash and redo the health or things around home, and again, your perspective on those things. Now, this will be significant on Friday once Mercury goes over Pluto. So it is definitely a week of change for you and transformation, of getting rid of old energies. So really seeing here this later part of the week, what are some old perspectives? What are some old belief systems about you, about goals, maybe even about your career as well, since Mercury rules your 10th, and home and family and your health. So whatever that stuff is, what's been transforming, being open to that, and through that there's new space here, which will be these ongoing new beginnings around these areas for you. Now, around the same time period, Thursday, Friday, the sun does shift into your fifth house. So you'll probably notice the shift where it has been on the more watery roots and foundational aspect of life, shifting more towards the playful, creative, and self-expressive area now with your sun going into your fifth. So you'll probably notice around the weekend at least that there is more energy, more insight to maybe create, to express yourself, and it is in fact a very good energy to work with. Now on Saturday, to top off the weekend, we do have a full moon in Cancer, which is your 11th house of groups, of community things, and your ideals. So your ideals could be high or at least illuminated at this time. Anything you've been involved with over the past 6 months involving your groups or communities that you're a part of could be coming to a high point maybe even with friends or whatnot. But in either case, those areas are illuminated. And I think you'll be able to see quite clearly, those ideals, and also how, your networks are, how your groups are, your relationships on that level. And that can be some positive energy for the other areas of your life. And there's some action with this. Mars is going to be squaring up to this full moon, so it could go either way. Sometimes we're feeling impulsive, so it's important to take it nice and slow, but at the same time there is some sort of action, some sort of energy that is pulling on us here to take some action with that. So if it's something involving a group or your ideal or whatever, taking those nice, slow and steady actionable steps. Now also here on Saturday, Jupiter and the North Node conjoin exact, and this is very significant. It's been an ongoing transit for the past couple weeks and will be going into February. So here it's all about this new insight, these new awarenesses about spirituality, basically a lot of the stuff you've been already thinking about or learning more about these past 6 months about spirituality or your alone time, working behind the scenes, faith and trust. And so could be some insights with that, maybe some opportunities to do some of these spiritual things, and you could find a lot of that very supportive for these next 2 years with the North Node here. Now the week tops off with Venus going into Sagittarius, which is your 4th house, so where things are definitely transforming around that home and family and maybe health. There is this lighter energy about it, and I think you can enjoy connecting to family and maybe connecting to your health and things like that with Venus here. It's a good placement for Venus to be in, and it's a good placement too for your financial material stuff, as well as for your overarching and philosophical views of life. All right, Virgo, so have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.